I actually don't mind any questions as soon as they actually come from a place of maybe healthy curiosity, and it obviously depends of the time and place. My journey with the body, as I say, has been a really complicated one, but the most fulfilling one that I have done. I started transitioning when I was 12 years old, and I started medically transitioning when I was 16. But it was one of the happiest days of my life. I've been transitioning for 10 years now, been on hormones for 10 years, that they were the biggest life savior. And it's been a bumpy road. I'm born in Spain, Barcelona, and there I couldn't fully express myself. I lived many years of my adolescence as a quite androgynous, let's say, boy person, because I never felt that it was possible for me to be fully open. Even when I started hormones, the majority of my friends didn't even know that I was going through this journey. They just thought I was just a really androgynous individual. But as soon as I moved to London when I was 18 is when I fully embraced my true self to the maximum. London is an amazing place when it comes to the journey with my body, because it allowed me to connect with many other people that had similar circumstances like I did, and it allowed me to celebrate my body and to be proud of it, to be proud of being a trans woman, to be proud of being a woman that happens to have a penis, for example, and to not let that rob you from your femininity. So it's been a really difficult one, but at this point in time, I feel really complete, really happy, and I love to translate that through my work, through my clothes, through my modeling, especially to younger trans people that maybe are still starting on this journey. I think as a kid, I didn't actually realize that I was that different. I think it mostly came around 8, 9, or 10 when people start becoming closer, when people get closer to puberty, I guess, that the sexes become more acknowledged. I feel like as a child, when you're 5, 6, even 4, you don't really think that much about it. So I always used to be called a girl because I used to play with all the girls. All my friends have always been girls and play with Barbie dolls, things like that, but I never thought too much about it. It was only when we reached to puberty or closer to it that I realized that I was gonna go through a completely different path that wasn't my own, through a completely different path than my brothers, because I'm a triplet. So I would see my brothers go through becoming much more masculine, and it was something that I just couldn't relate. It was something that I was not. So I think that's when I realized, and when my whole world just crumbled down on me. What question do I hate to be asked? I guess any question that comes from a place of hate. I actually don't mind any questions as soon as they actually come from a place of maybe healthy curiosity, and it obviously depends of the time and place. I wouldn't like to be asked questions regarding my genitals if it's in a really, it depends of the setup, in just a random stranger. I don't think it's none of their business. But then again, if I'm in a date with a boy, I think it's completely normal if he asks me regarding my genitals, because we're getting to know each other in maybe looking for a more sexual encounter. But I think especially anything that comes from a place of hate and not a place of curiosity, interest, or love, that's definitely, you notice that those are the questions you hate to be asked. I noticed what a difference the world has made in the past 5, even 3 years. It's so impressive. We have so many people that we can look up to in the trans community right now, and actually a lot of growing opportunities. But I think the big elephant in the room is that the majority of these opportunities tend to be as in front of camera, so they tend to be as models and I guess representatives, just to try to show the figure, either as a totem or to try to convey the message. But I think the big problem is that regardless we do this, there's still barely no queer people behind camera. So there's still barely any queer people working in the big fashion houses or in the big photography studios or in the big businesses. The majority of people are still white, cis men, straight men working these businesses. So I think the actual target for the future, from now on, should be to actually try to get queer people, trans people in this case, into these types of jobs, give them opportunities that they're not just to serve an image and to sell a product and to make other people look so open-minded, but also to actually incorporate them into society, into life, give them a voice. I think my biggest advice for people that they're starting in this journey is brace yourself, because it's the hardest journey you're gonna go through in your whole life. It's the most intimate, it's the most layered, it's the one that touches your whole existence and it's gonna change your whole existence. But my best advice would be to try to meet and befriend other trans people and other queer people, because in my case it is what changed my life. It is what fully changed my perspective of who I was. It's what allowed me to not be embarrassed of my body and my existence and actually embrace it. And again, normality is all about who you surround yourself with. So there's thousands of different normals that we live with nowadays. You know, each person has its own bubble, its own social bubble of people they relate with, that they have their own parameters of what they consider beautiful, what they consider normal, what they consider strange. So surround yourself with people that have the same mentality as you do, because that's going to enrich you so much and allow you to really unleash your full potential and your full happiness. That's the most important part. You're going to be able to be happy. You don't have to be constantly ashamed of your identity. It is possible. So that's definitely the most important advice. Get friends that understand you, that know your struggle,